Welcome back to From the Pages of Pro Wrestling Illustrated presents The Women of Wrestling Volume 1 from 1996. This is not a standard magazine issue. From the moment it announces itself, it separates from the monthly rhythm of Pro Wrestling Illustrated and presents itself as a standalone volume, something meant to be kept, referenced, argued over, and revisited. The title alone signals that this is not framed as a side feature or a novelty insert. It is positioned as an entire publication devoted exclusively to women in professional wrestling, and that positioning carries weight before a single paragraph is read. The cover language makes that intent unmistakable. It balances provocation and assurance, promising visual spectacle while acknowledging indirectly that the subject itself is controversial. The phrasing does not apologize for existing. Instead, it dares the reader to engage. Pricing is clearly printed for multiple regions, reinforcing that this is a mass distribution product, not a niche pamphlet. This is meant to circulate widely, to be bought off shelves, and to enter the same space as every other wrestling magazine of the era. Turning the page, the issue opens inside the broader wrestling media environment of the mid-1990s. The ECW Hardcore Hotline advertisement hits immediately, loud and urgent in tone. This ad is pure era-specific texture. It sells immediacy. Results, interviews, insider information, trivia, and merchandise are all promised through a phone call, with pricing spelled out minute by minute. Parental permission language sits right alongside hype, reflecting the age range of the audience and the anxiety of gatekeeping wrestling content at the time. This ad does not exist in isolation. It reminds the reader that wrestling fandom in 1996 is interactive, obsessive, and increasingly impatient for information. The contents page follows, and it is dense by design. It does not ease the reader into the material. It overwhelms slightly. Rankings, color sections, interviews, retrospectives, and editorials are all listed in sequence. Names appear one after another, creating anticipation before context is provided. The structure suggests that this issue is not meant to be skimmed. It is meant to be navigated deliberately, with sections serving different purposes rather than blending together. The introduction then steps in as a kind of thesis statement. The editors address the elephant in the room directly. They acknowledge criticism, skepticism, and discomfort surrounding women's wrestling coverage. Instead of avoiding those reactions, the text confronts them. The argument is framed clearly. Women have always been part of professional wrestling, whether acknowledged properly or not, and ignoring that reality distorts the historical record. The introduction positions the issue not as exploitation, but as correction. It reframes visibility as overdue rather than opportunistic. An editorial and publisher information page grounds the issue institutionally. Credits are presented cleanly and confidently. This matters. It signals that the publication stands behind the content. This is not anonymous. It is not coy. It is an official extension of the Pro Wrestling Illustrated brand, with all the authority and scrutiny that implies. Then the issue arrives at its backbone, the top 50 women wrestlers of all time. This section immediately imposes order. Rankings are inherently confrontational. They invite agreement, disagreement, and debate, and the magazine knows this, beginning with the fabulous. Moolah at number 1 is not presented as a casual choice. It is framed as foundational. Her placement establishes a lineage that stretches backward and forward through wrestling history. Each ranked entry combines image and text, blending biography with legacy assessment. Championships' influence, longevity, and visibility are weighed carefully. The writing avoids shorthand. It does not assume prior knowledge. Instead, it contextualizes each wrestler within their era, explaining why they mattered when they did. As the rankings move downward, the issue deliberately slows. June Byers, Mildred Burke, Mae Young, Vivian Vachon, Jaguar Yokota, and others are not rushed past. Their inclusion reinforces that women's wrestling did not begin in the modern era. It existed under different rules, different expectations, and often harsher limitations. The text emphasizes adaptation, resilience, and presence rather than spectacle. Advertisements are interwoven throughout this ranking section, and they function as more than filler. Holiday gift offers, subscription bundles, and multi-magazine packages appear with dense order forms and pricing grids. These ads reflect a pre-digital economy where fandom required patience. You mailed checks. You waited weeks. Wrestling culture moves slower, and these pages preserve that rhythm. The rankings resume with figures like Wendy Richter, Medusa Miceli, Sherry Martel, Bull Nakano, Candy Divine, and others. Each entry reinforces a different path through wrestling. Some are framed through championships, others through presence, character, or crossover appeal. The magazine avoids flattening these careers into a single mold. Instead, it presents variety as proof of legitimacy. The issue then deliberately shifts tone with the special color section, the women of wrestling. This is a visual intermission. Full color spreads replace rankings and argument. The layout invites the reader to stop analyzing and simply look. These pages do not rank or critique. They present. The emphasis is on visibility and recognition rather than hierarchy. From there, meet the women. Up close and personal changes the voice again. The text becomes more intimate. Background details, lifestyle notes, and offering perspectives take center stage. These sections exist to counter the idea that wrestlers are only their personas. The tone is humanizing without being sentimental. It adds dimension without diminishing credibility. The retrospective section, Where Have You Gone?, brings a quiet gravity to the issue. This is not nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. It acknowledges absence. Wrestlers who are no longer active are revisited with respect and clarity. Careers are framed as finite, and the section recognizes that many contributions fade without ceremony. This is one of the most reflective parts of the publication, functioning as acknowledgement rather than celebration. Throughout the back half of the issue, advertisements continue to appear steadily. Magazine promotions, subscription reminders, and publisher notices reinforce continuity. The message is consistent, wrestling is ongoing, and this issue is part of a larger archive. By the final pages, The Women of Wrestling Volume 1 feels intentionally exhaustive. It does not present a single argument. It presents a record. It documents women's wrestling as athletic competition, visual culture, contested space, and historical lineage. It does not claim to settle debates. It insists they exist. This issue is not subtle. It is deliberate, comprehensive, and unapologetic. It asks the reader not simply to look, but to reconsider what wrestling history includes and what it leaves out. See you next time, and farewell from the Empire State.